Hi everyone. So for now we're going to be looking at a 18 Halls of Atonement that I did. In this, looks like I'm running an atypical build for me. Oh, actually, let's see what I'm going to run. Okay, this is your standard sort of Resto Druid build. One modification that I do, I don't take Call of the Elder Druid, I take the cooldown reduction in Swiftmend. Lately, I've been playing a lot more Cenarian Ward, which has become sort of my standard. Cenarian Ward with Twin Leaf and the Nature Swiftness cooldown reduction. But yeah, so we're running Abundance here. So this is a standard double rejuve build. And let's get into it. So going into the pull, what I like to do is I'll throw some hots out. As we get up top, I'll stealth. This gives me the opportunity, if I want to stun one of the obliterators up here. Or sorry, the obliterators. I might not do it with the paladin here. Yes, looks like I open with the stun, get some hots out, use my in-cap roar to cancel the siphon life, and go right into trinket. I might feel like I'm falling a little bit behind here. Because I did all of that stuff early on, I didn't have enough time to kind of pre-apply my hots, but I think we're okay. As many of you guys know, this is kind of a hectic opening pull. But once I sort of do all my opening stuff, I keep the obliterator as my target to try and stop these bolts from coming out. That's going to be the source of wipes. Don't worry about the tank debuff early in the pull. The Mark of Obliteration is the more important thing to make sure that you get dispelled. So I use my Trank. One thing to note is I do run the cooldown reduction with Tranquility ability, so that helps prep my Convoke for the next set of Thrashes. There we have the Nature Swiftness into Convoke. I have been asked why I Nature Swiftness before I Convoke like that. Any of the regrowths that come out within your Convoke will get the Nature Swiftness buff. So it's like, I think it's something along the lines of like 200% increased healing. So go ahead and Nature Swiftness and then Convoke, and you get that sort of juiced up throughput. The one thing that you have that's a downside is it will not consume any of your clear casting procs, so you don't get any of that sort of bonus. But in a Mythic Plus environment, I feel the the increased healing on your direct like regrowth heal is a lot more valuable. So I did a bad job with my kicks on this pull. I should have got the Obliterator a bit more than I did. Normally when I have a hunter in the group, I almost like automatically assume that they're going to be sitting on the Houndmaster for the Loyal Beast cast. So I could have done a bit more, but I tend not to dash right in to try and like get in position for kicks and stops on this pull. I never know like what angle they're gonna pull it at, and I didn't want to aggro something that I shouldn't have. Okay, so it looks like for the next set of Thrash, I'm gonna have my Trinket. Then I might have to do one naturally. We'll see how it goes. But that's always a good time for Bark Skin. Bark Skin, Iron Bark. Let's see how we do. There goes the Bark Skin. So one of the things that is worth noting for channeled casts like the Siphon Life, you can stop them with your in-cap roar. And there's a kind of a cool pull coming up here that I love as a Resto Druid is um, we see one Siphon Life start and then the other, I think it's three immediately start. So if I can get myself in position, you can knock out all of them with an in-cap roar. So I should be targeting the Obliterate. Yeah, there we go, I catch up. Should be targeting that to try and stop bolts. I don't know what add-on the Paladin is using, but it sort of it sort of calls out in like slash say what's going on with his cooldowns and when he's like a little bit more vulnerable. Um, it was really nice playing with him because on top of the sort of add-on that he was really communicative as to when he needed a little bit of extra support. Um, and I kind of got a feel for his cadence and just started sending Iron Bark on him when I thought he like may end up needing it. That was a bad play on me. I should have dispelled the Hunter instead of the Pally. I probably didn't need to Trinket there, but it's kind of one of the things where I at the time felt better safe than sorry, and I had a bunch of other buttons for the Thrashes coming up, so I didn't feel too bad about sending it. So again, Nature Swiftness into Convoke for the Thrash. I think next one I'm probably gonna Tranquility. No Obliterators here, so nothing for me really to worry about kicking. No, I just decided to heal it naturally. For those of you that play Night Elves, a targeted cast like the Siphon, if you need to, you can Shadow Meld it to break the channel. It looks like I put my Shadow Meld on cooldown, but I think that I don't think I needed to do that. It looks like it got kicked. Another thing that using Nature Swiftness does with your Convoke is it gives you the option to cancel the cast into a giant regrowth in case you really need to for like an emergency heal. Oftentimes, what I can do is if I'm dying and someone else is dying, I can cancel it into renewal on myself plus regrowth on someone else, and top up two targets at the same time. during the convoke channel. So we're pulling an Obliterator into the boss. I try to wait. I'm gonna stun it when I can. I saw the Pally silenced him, but I wanted to kind of get in there. So I'm gonna keep the Obliterator, or at least I think I'm going to keep the Obliterator as my sort of targeted mob until it dies during the boss fight to make sure that I'm stopping as many of the bolts as possible. If a bolt is going to get through, or if it looks like a bolt is going to get through, I can also sort of pre-cast my regrowth on the target to try and line it up so that the regrowth lands just after the bolt hits, so that it minimizes the chance of any sort of overlapping damage events killing that player. There's not a lot going on this fight. It's just sort of topping your group up in between the heave debris. This is actually one of the 3 dungeons or 4 dungeons that I like to take Dream of Cenarius in, because you can get a lot of value from your damage to heal. But this, this was my first time trying Halls of Atonement on an 18, so I wasn't feeling that bold. Other than that, the main thing for me is just to be mindful of whose turn is it, because it alternates DPS alternates tank and then the rest of the group for the heave debris. So just try and bait your bait your swirlies or bait the mechanic into the appropriate places to keep the arena clear. Looks like we're doing a really good job of space management here. As you go into the beam phase, just let your hots do their job. There's no damage coming out for a solid like 10 seconds or something like that. So just, use that time to get some cat weaving in or owl weaving if that's a thing that you do. So it looks like we're going to have Lust coming up. This next pull is like one of the nightmare pulls in this place. I always get really scared of it. I send all of my cooldowns a little bit too early. Yeah, see, the tank's right there calling out for Bark. That's great. So, as requested, get the Bark out, get in my kick. Probably gonna incap. Yep. Trinkets out. And I'm just starting. I didn't need to. Yeah, see, I sent my Convoke that early because I was scared. I really didn't need to do that. I could have saved it, but. Yeah, overall, that pack went really well. So I can see, I wonder if I'm going to send my Iron Bark on the Pally here pretty soon. Yep, there we go. So here, just be mindful of your be mindful of not getting screeched at. I do like to bear form for it, but that's optional. It shouldn't be something that kills you. One thing I do want to try in here is I want to try taking Mass Root, see how it works. I've taken Ursul's Vortex in the past. It doesn't, to me at least, feel like it really does much in terms of delaying the guys from running around. But I will ask my group ahead of time if they want me to take it, and depending on my build, if I have a free point, I might take it out of either Typhoon or I normally run the talent that gives you extra combo points when you crit. I might just swap out of that into Vortex, but it's not something I normally take just because I don't feel like it has a lot of usefulness. It doesn't seem to work. I think I'm gonna die here. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting the group to kill them that quickly. I thought I had another couple of seconds before that damage event was going to go out, and I was planning on using my Lumithar's trinket. Um, all of my content that I do is with pugs pretty much, and that can kind of come back to bite me during bosses like this, where I, maybe one group kills the ads far slower than another group does, so I'm expecting like a much different cadence. So I like to bark skin bear form before I turn to stone. It lets me mitigate some of the damage. That's a good time to use renewal if you have it, or if you feel like you need to. The only thing to be mindful of is you can get a puddle that spawns under you after you get knocked back, so just watch your feet. Okay, we're healing up the warrior. We're doing good. Get in there. Apply some dots. Yeah, see, I was expecting the ads to die a little bit earlier than they did, so I was holding on to my nature swiftness invoked there for longer than I needed to. I didn't catch how the Death Knight died. I couldn't tell if that was my fault. As a healer, I do always feel that every death is my fault, and I know that's not true, so sometimes I give myself a bit of a break. Yeah, outside of healing the debuff and prepping for the damage events, there's not as much that's going on in this fight. Again, you can see the ads died nice and slow there. I was able to just top people up with regrowth spam. Um, really inconsistent sort of damage pattern. Again, great communication from the tank. I often find myself asking inside or outside, but he's communicating where he wants to go. So it's really good. Sometimes I do wonder, like, what it's like playing with a consistent team in Discord. It feels like it's probably not even the same game. I should have used that opportunity to stun something, but I decided just to put my F-low down. That was bad play. Yeah, really not too much going on in this poll. So I think at this point I was probably like mentally preparing myself for the boss. Um, the way that I've been doing this on 18 is we'll chain this whole group into the boss. And the thing that I really need to be mindful of is what dispels are important and how many dispels are coming out, um, as well as focusing the obliterator for the kicks and using my stop on the siphon life. Those are the things that I'm trying to think about. Initially, I didn't know how many stacks of the debuff that a tank could take, but the verdict seems to be lots of them, so I don't worry about the dispel on the tank. I will dispel the boss mechanic that goes out onto the group if I have time, but I also need to focus on the mark of obliteration. So that's like my primary dispel, and then after that, it's the boss one. Just try and heal through it. So it looks like we got all of the ads down very quickly, which was awesome. We're probably gonna save. Yeah, we're definitely gonna save Lust for the mini boss. So not too much to worry about now. Yep. Use trying to heal up the team and get my Convoke back, which is nice. When the debuffs come out, I try to prioritize. I try to prioritize dispelling melee over ranged. I should have dispelled the hunter there, but that's okay. Yeah, so I think I should dispel melee over ranged, and then I should prioritize dispelling the warrior over the death knight. Yeah, see, I made that choice right there. Death knights have a lot of like sort of anti-magic stuff. They have their death strike that they can use when they get low. They're like probably the most resilient DPS class. At least it feels that way to me. I got put in the corner. Probably gonna convoke. Oh, no convoke. Yeah, really poor DPS on the boss on my part, but trying to keep everybody safe. Watching some of the top Resto Druids, they get a lot more sort of mileage out of their cat weaving, and that's something I've been really trying to work on. But that being said, I always struggle because if the group is doing 20 million DPS, if I really want to squeeze out that extra one, is that sort of 5% really worth it, or whatever the math comes out to be? You know, it's like, is that extra damage worth it if I'm putting my team at risk? So that's just sort of the internal struggle that I have. So when I come in here, if we keep him in the main room, I like to set up on top of the altar. which I do. The reason behind this is sometimes the ads that come after me sort of just bug out and they can't reach me, which is one thing. But when they want to come to attack you, they go up to the top floor and then come around, so it gives me the ability to just sort of jump off to kite them a little bit longer if I need. Yeah, and I was right earlier. This was the heroism pull. Bloodlust, or whatever you want to call it. Feel okay using whatever cooldowns you need to for throughput in this fight. Um, the for the last boss, you have nothing that you have to heal. There's like no intense healing for the first, you know, 30% or whatever it is until he does his like big channeled ability. So your stuff will come back, and you shouldn't need more than one. You shouldn't need more than one throughput cooldown per phase. Um, so yeah, the last thing you want to do is die in here because it just really puts you in like a DPS hole that you're not going to recover from. I think I stampede. Yeah. So there's really nothing going on in this boss for 95% of the time. Just dodge the statues and stay, dodge the statues, and that's about it. Like I said, this is a good boss, or this is a good dungeon where on lower keys I take Trimacenarius because you can get a lot of, really get a lot of bang for your buck out of the cat weaving to heal. And it's like, it's more fun. So this is like the only part of the fight where you can really mess things up. So I make sure to bark skin as they're coming out. Probably gonna trinket. I should stand in the AMS. And I'm sending the kitchen sink just because I have the opportunity to. I know that my stuff will be up for the next phase, so it's like totally fine. Not too worried about that. And I would rather just grossly overheal that than let someone die. Because that's like, that part of the fight is your only job as the healer. Alright, comes the next Door of Shadows. I've got Ironbark, Bark Skin, Convoke. I'm holding on to my Convoke for now. There we go. Yep, pop the Convoke. I used Ironbark on myself just to make myself feel better, but it probably wasn't necessary. There's no tank mechanics in here, or at least I don't really know about any tank mechanics that make me feel like I have to save that for the tank, so oftentimes I'll just use it on myself or a DPS to smooth things out. I got scared of dying there, so I just didn't jump into damage, but that's okay. Awesome. Yeah, so that is how I do the that's how I do the Halls of Atonement. If you guys like this content, feel free to like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll be doing a bit more of this at midnight earlier in the season. All right, thanks everyone.